It's late summer along the Fundy Shore in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. This is beach time for many residents and tourists. It's also a summer home to hundreds of thousands of shorebirds during their annual migration. Over a span of 4 to 6 weeks, shorebirds like these semi-palmated sandpipers travel a total of 12,000 kilometers from their breeding grounds in the Arctic to South America. The Bay of Fundy is an important stop for feeding and roosting. It's a roosting site. So what is a roosting site? Roost sites are often close to good feeding areas where birds can fill up the tank and rest. These migratory shorebirds need to double their weight to prepare for their 3-day non-stop flight over the Atlantic Ocean to South America. The birds need to fill up, rest up, and bulk up for their trip. You see, these shorebirds can't swim. They can't simply land on the water and rest. If they get tired, they would drown. They must keep flying over the ocean until they reach land. It's a marathon. So, if the shorebirds can't rest on the Bay of Fundy beaches, they may not make it to South America. What can be done? It's simple. Don't bother the birds when they're here. If they are constantly scared into flight during their rest period, roughly 2 hours before and after high tide, they won't have enough energy to survive their flight across the Atlantic Ocean. Look for signs at beaches in the Bay of Fundy. Signs like this Space to Roost sign mark specific roosting shorelines so we all know where and when to avoid the shorebirds. Keep an eye on the time and tide. Are you there 2 hours before or after high tide? This is rest time for shorebirds and when they are easily disturbed. If you're at the beach at this time, stay away from the roosting birds. If you or your dog gets too close, the birds will flush and take to the air, and while that's a fascinating thing to watch, it also uses up lots of much-needed energy they need to complete their trip. The beach and ocean is a big part of us. We like to stroll along the beach. We like to take pictures of birds. We like to walk and play with our dogs. But it's important that we share the shore with all the creatures who need it to survive. To most of us, the shorebirds appear to be the same species, but we're talking about over 20 different species, like the semi-palmated sandpiper, semi-palmated plover, white-rumped sandpiper, and the red knot, some of which are now species at risk. Canada has lost 40% of our shorebird populations since 1970. However, it is easy for us to help. During the month of August, the birds need you to keep your distance. That means keeping your dog on a leash, using a telephoto lens if you're taking photos of shorebirds, and trying not to scare the birds as you walk along. So let's all give shorebirds a space to roost. To learn more, visit birdscanada.org.